Today, we're diving into a super fun, heartwarming, and slightly cheesy tale about a little mouse named Lulu. You know, sometimes the biggest adventures start with the simplest misunderstandings. So get ready to smile, because this is going to be good. Now, Lulu wasn't just any mouse. She was a tiny bundle of curiosity, with whiskers that twitched with excitement at every new smell, and big, bright eyes that missed absolutely nothing. One magical evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Lulu scurried out of her cozy little home. She was on her usual mission, finding tasty snacks. But this particular night was different. As Lulu poked her head out, her eyes caught something absolutely magnificent in the sky. There, hanging perfectly round and golden, was the most enormous, glistening orb she had ever seen. It was bright, it was grand, and to Lulu's snack-obsessed mind, it could only be one thing. The biggest, most delicious wheel of cheese in the entire world. Her tiny heart did a little flip-flop of pure joy. "Oh my goodness!" she squeaked, practically vibrating with excitement. "Look at that! It must be the king of all cheeses! And it's just sitting there, waiting for someone to nibble it." She imagined the creamy texture, the rich, savory smell. Her mouth practically watered just thinking about it. Lulu knew she had to have a piece. No ordinary mouse could resist such a prize. But there was one small problem. Okay, a very big problem. This glorious cheese was way, way up high in the sky. Much higher than any shelf, any cupboard, or any table she had ever encountered. But Lulu was a mouse of determination. When she set her mind to something, she rarely gave up. She scampered around, her little brain working overtime. How could she reach the sky cheese? She spotted the tallest tree in the meadow, its branches stretching upwards like giant leafy arms. "Aha," she thought. "If I climb to the very top, I'll be closer. I can just reach out and take a bite." It seemed like a foolproof plan to her. With renewed energy, Lulu began her ascent. Up she went, tiny claws gripping the rough bark, tail swishing for balance. She climbed past sleepy birds, through rustling leaves, higher and higher, her eyes fixed on that golden orb in the sky. Her little legs burned, but the thought of that giant cheese kept her going. She was so close, she could almost taste it. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of climbing, Lulu reached the very highest branch. She clung on, panting slightly, and looked up again. The moon, still round and bright, seemed just as far away as it had been from the ground. It mocked her with its distant glow. "Oh no," she whispered, her tiny shoulders slumping. "It's still too high." She stretched her paw as far as it could go, wiggling her little fingers, but it was no use. The moon remained tantalizingly out of reach. Disappointment washed over Lulu. All that effort, all that climbing, for nothing? She let out a small, discouraged sigh. And that's when it happened. In her moment of dejection, her tiny paws lost their grip on the slippery branch. "Whoa!" she squeaked, tumbling head over tail, leaves and twigs rushing past her in a blur. Down, down, down she fell. It was a long, dizzying plunge. Lulu braced herself for a hard landing, squeezing her eyes shut. But instead of a thud on the grass, she landed with a soft, bouncy plop. She opened her eyes cautiously, expecting dirt or leaves, but what she saw made her eyes widen in utter delight. She wasn't on the ground at all. She was surrounded by cheese. Big, glorious, golden wheels of cheese stacked high in a woven basket. It smelled absolutely divine, a rich, savory aroma that filled her tiny nostrils. It was even better than she could have imagined. She had landed smack dab in the middle of a farmer's freshly collected cheese basket, left out to cool. Lulu let out an excited little squeak, her earlier disappointment completely forgotten. "Even better," she declared, her eyes twinkling. No longer did she need to stretch for the distant moon. Here was real cheese, right within reach, and in abundance. She wasted no time, diving face first into the nearest wedge, munching happily, a very content little mouse indeed. So, sometimes, when things don't go according to plan, life has an even better surprise waiting for you, right? Lulu's story reminds us to keep our spirits up, even when we fall, because you never know what wonderful things you might land on.